Hello. I just had the news on actually, and there was an item telling me that I can now go into a shop and use my credit or debit card and just tap it on the machine and spend up to £100. Not so sure about that. I think, if we were buying something in a shop and had to count out the money in pennies and pounds or whatever, I think we would think twice about buying a lot of stuff. Anyway, that's by the way. What I found the other day, I found this in an old jar. It's an old penny. That's a new penny. Quite a difference in size. These went out in the early 1970s. Was it 73 when we went decimal? It was decided that we'd get rid of the old currency. And when you think of the old currency, there were 12 of these in a shilling. Then there were 20 shillings in a pound, 21 shillings in a guinea. And then we had a £1 note and a £5 note. I don't know if there were anything higher than that. I don't think anybody had more than £5 in those days. But there was, it's so much easier, isn't it, to have a decimal system. I mean, as well as the pennies, we had a halfpenny, half a penny, a farthing, quarter of a penny. Actually, the farthing was a lovely little coin. It had a little bird on the back. It was either a robin or a wren. Beautiful coin. Then we had a threepenny bit. I had one of the very small silver threepenny bits. I remember being quite upset when I had to spend it. And then there were the 12-sided threepenny bits with the sort of gate, portcullis on the back. So yeah, it's strange how this developed, isn't it? Why 12 pence in a shilling? Was it real? It was a dozen, of course, wasn't it? Was it a religious thing? Do you think 12 disciples? Don't know. I mean, we had 10 commandments, didn't we? So yeah, I don't know where it came from. Then again, 20 shillings in a pound. And of course, there'd be 240 of these in a pound. And of course, this is a fairly new old penny. It's 1966. So some of the old ones were, they were so fat, so thick and heavy. Imagine carrying £1's worth of those in your pocket, or pockets, or bags. But then you probably wouldn't have had all that much money anyway, so there we are. Yeah, we had half crowns, florins. I wonder if the florins came from Florence and from Venice, from the Italian money when it was being developed. So we've got rid of all that. We had a £1 note. I remember my dad. I remember seeing a £5 note once when my dad had got paid for some job that he'd done, and he had a pie, not a pie. We had 2 or 3 of these £5 notes, big white ones with italic writing on. Quite a work of art. The other thing about money that I'm never quite sure about is inflation. Because, I mean, I can remember, inflation's been with us a long time. I remember my dad complaining when a first-class stamp went up from 2p to 2p halfpenny. What is it now? Must be about 15 shillings in old money. So we've always had inflation, but economists seem to like inflation. Not sure why. Perhaps we didn't have inflation till economists came along. What do you think? Do you think they invented it? It doesn't do anybody any good though, does it? You know, somebody gets a wage rise, and unions decide that their members ought to have a wage rise, so their wages go up, and whatever they're making costs more, so everybody else wants a wage rise to catch up with it. And so it goes on, it just spirals upwards. In the first house that we bought when we got married in 1963, That cost it cost £3,125, and I was earning £800. My salary was £800 a year. So what's that? A house 4 times my annual salary. Don't think you get a house now for that, would you? Yeah, when I started work at first, I think I was on £6 a week. In fact, when I was doing national service, we got 4 shillings a day, but then we did get board and lodgings and uniform and everything. So I suppose that was just spending money. So it's, yeah, things change. Things change. Because what we've got now is virtual money, isn't it? We've got Bitcoin. What is that? It's not proper money, is it? I don't know how that works. I think I'd steer clear of that one. It doesn't sound, yeah, it sounds a bit of a con to me, but anyway, it would do. The other thing, of course, that when we went decimal in the 70s, we were supposed to go completely decimal with measurements, distances, weights and everything. And but it was all a bit half-hearted in those days. We've always been a bit worried about decimal things, haven't we? It's always a bit too sort of European for us. So we've always been a bit wary of it. Although we did our measurements have moved a bit, haven't we? We do use centimetres, millimetres, metres, but we've never adopted the kilometres quite as much as we should have done, perhaps. Our road signs are still in miles. Probably cost too much to change them all. And we've never moved, well, we have moved to kilograms with our weights, which is good when you think back to the old system of weights of, what was it, 16 ounces in a pound and 14 pounds in a stone, and was it 8 stone in a 100 weight? And so it goes on. I think, you know, at the time of Brexit, people used to get very upset about having to sell things in kilograms. I think some of the old Brexiteers probably wanted us to go back to rods, poles and perches and furlongs and groats and things, but yeah, perhaps I'm being a bit cynical. Anyway, that's my take on the new money. And I wish I had a farthing. I'd love to have collected one of those farthings. All I've got in old money now is this fairly new old penny. But there we are. Okay, that's it for the moment. I'm sure I've missed something out, but I always do. And we'll talk about something else next time.